Nola Sharp talks about the physical aspects of speech delivery.
Sebastian would like to deeper with his evaluation. What are the other aspects that he should be looking at? Nola.
There's probably about 30 or 40, but I think we have to assure Sebastian that this isn't going to happen overnight. But the things that he will notice is that the first thing that speaks is his body. There'll be no sound, but what can be conveyed by walking onto the stage or into the spot, the power spot, to deliver his speech, if he can, needs to be done confidently. And of course, he's not going to be able to remember his speech for the first time, and he no doubt will have notes. And to tell him that this is okay, that you don't have to come out with your first speech. Some people can do that, and that always impresses, and I think those people have to realize how lucky they are. Giving eye contact, from my personal view, it took me about 18 months before I could concentrate on my words and look at people. I mean, really look at people as I was doing that. It took me such a long time. And so I think we need to settle Sebastian down, to tell him that he has got a mentor, that movement may or may not come in his first speech, but if it is, then that's something that he will have to do with purpose, and not just Kay McCartney once told me that all my speech needed was an overture, because I was sort of dancing and my hands were going all over the place. And she was so right. And that's the thing. Evaluators see what we as speakers do not see, but it doesn't make them always right. Facial expressions, that is something that has to be congruent with what is being spoken about. You can't say, oh, today I went to my nana's funeral, and people have told you've always got to present with enthusiasm and with a smile. That is when
It has to match. It has to match.
It has to match. Thank you. There we are. You have learned something, Christina. That's wonderful. Your appearance is important. I remember a young man many years ago, every time he was a Toastmaster, he wore a collar and tie. And that gives respect, I think, to the to Toastmasters and to the audience. If you use props or visual aids, they can be of benefit and they can be a nuisance. I used a prop in a successful speech, and it was a fire engine. Now, if I didn't have that fire engine, I think the power of my speech would have been perhaps lost by up to 25%. So don't ever think that someone that has used the prop deserves to be graded higher or given more praise, because sometimes props work and sometimes they don't. Moving with purpose was something that people would say to me all the time, and I had no idea what they were talking about. But moving with purpose just means, for all those new Toastmasters out there, that you don't talk and walk at the same time. You have the pause that Daryl enjoys and appreciates so much, and you walk to a space, and that is the power spot. That's where you deliver the point. Then using pause again and movement with the stage, and sometimes it can be a timeline, but please don't think you always have to start it like that. That you don't have to be born on the right side of the stage and then you have your teenage years in the center of the stage and you die on the left of the stage. I've heard many, many people give that as a recommendation to improve a speech. It doesn't necessarily, especially if it's done with jaunty sort of movements that aren't smooth and don't run into one another. Gestures are important. Experts, which I'm not saying I am, but they say that if you say something within your speech that's important to the speech, if you have a gesture that's congruent with that, people will remember.
Thanks, Nola, for describing some of the physical aspects of speech delivery.